Joining me via Zoom to analyze this issue, I have the Deputy President, Nigerian Labour Congress, and General Secretary, National Union of Electricity Employees, Joe Ajaero. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much.
All right. Let's share your thought on how the electricity workers plunged more than 200 million people into darkness for hours.
Well, thank you very much. I think a keen observer in the events in the sector will tell you that the whole issues have been on since 2013. And that in 2009 again, after various efforts to resolve some of the fallouts of the privatization exercise, another one-day action commenced, but with the intervention of the Speaker of the House of Reps, who mediated, and the Minister of Labour took over from there. Certain agreements were reached, and we doubted the sincerity of the parties to implement it. The Speaker assured the electricity workers that within 3 months this matter will be addressed. And between 2019 December to date, none, and I repeat, none of the issues contained therein were addressed. Besides, some other issues cropped up in addition to all these, for which we issued series of correspondences to government side, Ministry of Power, PCN, head of service, office of various offices, and they failed to acknowledge our correspondence. By May 18th, we issued a first strike after getting frustrated, first strike notice. And nobody responded. We gave a further notice. Some of these notices have been published, threat to strike and all that, in major newspapers. We were totally ignored. And in order to protest what we were doing, we started our picketing action, a day before. And we knew that if we started picketing a day or two, it will affect power situation in the country. And by the second day we started our action, the system started going down. It was almost a total collapse, before the intervention of the minister, for an action that had lasted less than 6 hours for us to start a call-off. And the government asked for 2 weeks, and 2 weeks is not long. And we are waiting for the 2 weeks, for the main cocoa. That's where we are.
Yeah, all right. The union suspended the strike for 2 weeks to resolve the pending issue. Do you see the issue being addressed within the time frame?
Well, the issues, if there is commitment on the part of the government, they can start somewhere in trying to resolve them. The ones that had to do with funding, the ones that had to do with payment, the ones that had to do with the reversal of even letters that were misinterpreted as circular. When people who are working for the state fail to understand the difference between circular and the personal letter, then it doesn't take 2 weeks for you to reverse it and correct it accordingly. And so many other issues. There are issues that are administrative issues that could be corrected overnight. And there are issues that when you start the processes, the unions will know that something is on the offering. I don't see them as difficult issues if there is good faith.
All right, Ajaero, you agree with me that Nigeria has struggled with poor electricity for decades, and how do you think we can get this resolved?
Well, from the way we are going now, anybody that criticizes what is happening, like some of us, the person is branded as an enemy, attack dogs are released on the person. So they don't want us to discuss it. When the country is ready and willing, I think there will be, a conscious effort by all parties for us to have a national debate, a very sincere debate on how to fix the power sector, but not as presently constituted, not a privatized electricity sector And that is what those investors, so-called investors, don't want to hear. And that is why they will come out to tell you that if Ajaero says that he should be jailed, he should be put to prison, this present privatized electricity sector cannot, save Nigeria. It is collapsing. It is dying. The so-called investors that borrowed money, the banks are taking over the sectors. There's nothing anybody can do about it. None of them has generated even 1 watt in the last 9 years. And the government is using the money to develop the country, to pay the so-called investors. Over 2 trillion has been paid. The commodity you sold for 400 billion, you sold your utility for 400 billion, and then you have given the buyers over 2 trillion. Nigeria economy will collapse in trying to provide subsidy for the power sector. This is not the way it is. That wasn't the situation when it was under government control. We should all come together without all this blackmail all over about the people that know, the situation in the sector. We should come together and discuss it, or else it will collapse on our heads.
All right, Mr. Ajaero, thank you for your contribution so far.
Thank you very much.